First off, I want to say congrats to everybody that qualified. And last year, I mean, you guys know that I'm a believer in getting on the big stage, the big, cool stage that's actually not very easy to get to. And that's what Nationals is. And when you walk in the facility and you're looking around and you're seeing the athletes that are covered nationally year round. You're seeing people walk around that, oh, wait, that's a professional there. That's a professional there. And you're in the venues that you're seeing on TV and you realize, okay, there's a lot of kids that would like to be here that aren't. And just the confidence that it brings is powerful. And then when you come back to your home state, you bring all of that confidence. And all of a sudden the region meet isn't nearly as intimidating as it used to be, because you've run on some big stages. Not to mention the travel experience. When we go out on trips, we look to get on college campuses and to see some sites and interesting things in the areas. So we'll see a little bit of what we saw last year at Outdoor Nationals. And if you have questions along the way, feel free to ask. But I also want to tell you that these, especially if you're in on a relay, some of you are in on multiple relays and 4 or 5, and we've got a lot of choices. Others were in on 1 or 2, and whether we can go may depend a little bit on whether the relay numbers add up and come together. So we're going to be watching that closely. We have some flexibility, some ways to mix and match and make things work. And also, if the number within our team doesn't work just right, one benefit we have of this particular meet is they do allow you to, we're running as the Valhalla Track Club. And as a club, if we know another athlete's going to be out there from, say, another school, we can recruit to fill a hole. So anyway, I don't want you to get discouraged if you hear that somebody's not going, who looks critical to your relay. That may or may not be the case. We're going to work hard to get everybody that wants to go into the meet. It's not 100% guarantee, but we'll work to get that done. Okay. I want to share a few pictures from last year. I know we arrived and this stadium is right in the University of Oregon's campus, amongst the buildings, the academic buildings. It's across the street from the law school. It's in a neighborhood a couple blocks from the basketball arena. And so you park on a quiet street and walk in and see this spaceship looking stadium. And so you can see it from the outside there. This is the warm-up track on the left, and then they take you from the warm-up track into check-in tents. You see the edge of the tent, and then from there they take you underneath these doors underneath the outside of the stadium. And the next time you walk out, the athletes walk out these doors and they are on the track in the middle of the stadium, just like they did at the World Championships last year in the stadium. If it happens to be raining, this is the concourse around the outside of the stadium. Look at it. It's actually a track surface painted with lanes. So you can get out of the rain. And apparently the University of Oregon runs intervals if it's rainy, sometimes on this concourse track. Here's in the stadium. Those are our athletes that went last year. You just get a feel for the venue itself. It's a huge stadium, but it's also like all the seats are good. They keep you kind of close to the track. And then the seats, it's all new in there. So parents, we will need chaperones. We're guessing 8-ish. I like to have a ratio of 1 adult for 4 or 5 athletes. So we'll see exactly where our numbers come out. But for the time we spend in the stadium, it is pretty cush. Every seat is cushioned, back and seat, and it is comfy. The sound is awesome. It protects you from the wind. If it starts to rain, you can tuck underneath the awnings. So anyway, here's the track. I thought that was a cool picture. Andy caught a lot of really cool pictures, like he usually does. Kind of fun. In every heat, there's people from all across the country. Is Peter on here? You remember where this Swanton guy was from? He led your guys' race for a while. Anyway, you see Texas, Florida, back east, California, all over the place are gathering here for the meet. Day before the meet, they open up the stadium for practice. So we got to get down on the field and check things out. And I took a panorama from down at the steeplechase. I'm a little partial to this track. My steeplechase personal record is on this track, but in its prior iteration. So I have a fun picture on my wall at work of going over this steeplechase barrier on the way to my best. And I won an invitational 800 at the Oregon Invite here. So for me, it's a special track. It's kind of cool. There's a couple of spots during the 4 days of the meet where there's some gaps. I don't know why that's coming up. And we'll try to get over to the coast. And we saw Hesed Ahead Lighthouse, which is this one. And we did tide pooling on the beach there, which if you haven't done tide pooling, it's kind of fun. You see anemones and starfish and crab, and you can collect seashells and stuff. You can get in and see the waves crashing on the rocks. And then we hiked the Hobbit Trail through the mossy forest out to the beach, and then we spent some time on the beach. We got kind of lucky for Oregon. It can be cold there, but we got a really beautiful warm day, and the waves were too tempting. We jumped in, and there are no photos because we were all in the water. That is no guarantee. That's like the only time I ever remember getting in the Oregon coast water where we didn't freeze, but it was not too bad. And then we got dinner at Moe's on the water over at the harbor. So anyway, that was a fun excursion day. Back at the track, we caught this. This was Sarah Spangenberg in the Emerging Elite hurdles. But you can see how they didn't do this in every race, but a lot of the races they did. They had the cameraman out there up in the face of the athletes, and they show up on the big board. You know they're hardcore about track when the bathrooms have Steve Prefontaine murals, gold medals, and bibs in the floor. And each bathroom tend to have its own theme. So anyway, just a really interesting place. So before we jump into itinerary, Andy, anything to add? Andy was one of our chaperones last year.
It's just amazing. The feel of the whole event, the energy there. The athletes are all super stoked to be out on the track. You gain, some quick associations with your competitors, have a wonderful opportunity to kind of rub shoulders with people that are just like you, trying to make their name, trying to put themselves out there. I've come across some of them from, all the way across the country. You'll bump into them outside of the arena, in the arena, out on, some runs you do outside on the campus or whatever for warm-ups or just to go explore. And it's an awesome place. And the fact that everyone that's there, everyone participating, everyone in the stands, they all understand the love of track and the love of running, and they get the feeling there, and the energy there is just phenomenal. It's a really great place to compete in. And the weather can come and go a little bit. There was a little bit of rain right during Sarah's race and a little bit before Gabe's mile. But other than that, it was, beautiful weather, fairly moderate temperatures, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Eugene, in that area, from the track, the athletes can get out, the distance runners, at least you could as sprinters as well, but the distance runners run their way over to Prees Trail along I think it's the McKenzie River that comes through Eugene. Anyway, a bark chip trail along the river, a place where the University of Oregon team will often do runs. And anyway, it got to loop around. We also did a short excursion. I think it's less than a mile over to Prees Rock. If you don't know about Steve Prefontaine, whose face is on the wall here on the slide. He was third in the Munich Olympics, and he was still a University of Oregon athlete at the time. Was a huge reason that distance running caught fire in the 70s. Anyway, a super famous athlete, known for his bold and brash ways. And anyway, he died kind of tragically in a car accident. And there's kind of it's like a destination location for runners. So we ran over there and saw the plaques for Pre, and you're not alone when you go there. There's a runners there. So anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing. Okay, let's jump over to the itinerary. And granted, this is not fully refined because, one, we don't know exactly which events we're going to be in and how many people are coming. We've done pricing for a group road trip here, and we have 2 or 3 vehicles lined up at this point. We need to confirm the 12-passenger van, but it's usually available from Jardines. He's told us if we ever need it for a trip, we've got it. And we've got some other volunteer drivers to go. But that does not mean you have to drive. We had a couple people fly last year. If you want to fly, rent a car and go meet us, that's fine. You could do that. We had a little bit of both last year. But Andy, is this what I'm trying to remember? I didn't get to review this with you before we started today. Did you start early Wednesday? Is that what you did?
Yeah, we left about 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday to get out there in time to meet up and get registered and have some time on the track that night.
Okay. And that worked out. I think it worked out. I don't know if you'd have changes to the plan.
We've gone to Oregon about 6 times as a family, and we always drive straight through and get out there and just make a day of it. We often actually drive through the night, but for this, we'll just run early and start early in the morning and get out there. So,
okay. On that first day, there's only 2 events. They're both in the afternoon, the 4x2 and the DMR, but that's the distance medley relay, a relay that includes a 400, an 800, a 1200, and a 1600. And so that is a candidate for getting out to the beach if we went if we got out there early, or we could do the beach in shifts. If some didn't race that day, we could send a vehicle out and they could just take their time out at the beach and do their thing, and other athletes could go another day. Friday, we don't have anything in the morning, which will probably be kind of nice to rest and catch our breath and not feel rushed. We may, if we get over to the stadium, gaps in the meet allow us a chance to walk the University of Oregon's campus, go to the bookstore, see the library, the forested campus. It's beautiful. There's shops, there's places to eat close to the stadium without even crossing a road. You walk out of the stadium and you are inside of campus. So you can see on Friday, we've got the medley. That's the 200, 200, 400, 800 medley. And we've got the 4x800s, those both emerging elite and championship 4x800s running at various times between 4 and 5:30 p.m. And then in the evening there, this is a cool event. We've never run it before as Viewmont. They've only recently launched it at the world level. I think they ran it at Diamond League for the first time last year. And I think it's on the world championship schedule. I don't know that for sure, but it's a mixed 4x4, 2 boys, 2 girls, goes boy, girl. And we have it, if it works out that they can come, if we run our fastest boys and our fastest girls, then we make the time. And anyway, that could be kind of fun. That's Friday evening. Last year, I can't remember, it was Friday night. Actually, I think it's right after. I don't know what they're going to do this year as far as professionals, except that right after the mixed 4x4, they're going to run a professional race for the 800 and 1500. I don't know who that's going to bring in, but with Nike sponsoring the event and it being at their main training track, they may draw some big athletes. So that's Friday night, some professional races. Saturday, late morning, we've got the 4x1 mile, and we have multiples of that on the boys and the girls. So we have a lot of athletes racing late Saturday morning. And then in the afternoon, we've got the 800s. And I think we've got three athletes in that. Some in championship and some in emerging elite. Sunday morning, for those that want to go to church, we had some of that, and we went to the local sacrament meeting in the morning, and then the final races were around noon, and then the 4x4 is around a little after 2, I think. So the mile and the 4x4. So from there, we took off toward home. So anyway, safety is key for us to, back to our Oregon driving expert, Andy. I don't know if you've thought about this. I haven't talked through the details, other than I care a whole lot about us making sure we're driving safely. But
quick question for you about the schedule. When is the throwing events?
Oh, right. We have Rachel on here. When I first drafted up this, I didn't realize that is an important question, and I apologize, Robert's family. I don't have it real close. If somebody could pull that schedule and look for, I think it's emerging elite shot and disc girls is what we're looking for. So
Pulling it up right now.
okay.
Looks like Friday at 4 p.m. emerging elite discus, and Saturday emerging elite shot put at 5 p.m. So 4 and 5 Friday, Saturday.
Well, thanks.
Okay, so Andy, can you remind me what you guys did last time? Did you just bomb it straight back afterward?
We did.
You had multiple drivers. You were changing back and forth.
Yeah, we used Matt Gehring and I went out together and back, and on their way back we swapped out. We got in around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We went a slightly longer route to get out, which I wouldn't do that again myself, but well, that was my call last time. But yeah, it's a pretty straight shot, 10 hours. So you get out of there, you'd be getting back at midnight, 1 o'clock, heading straight back from Eugene.
Okay. So we're, this travel schedule is not set in stone, but if that worked and we had if we had a couple of drivers in each vehicle that we could trade off, we could make it back like 12 and 1. Anyway, I'm open to feedback on that, but I think we could do that safely, and it would save us having to bleed into Monday. I like having the athletes there to cheer for one another, but if there was a vehicle that felt that they needed to get on the road earlier, we could do that. So anyway, okay, so let's talk cost a little bit. Andy and I have been working on this for, I don't know, a little while now, a month or two. And Sarah has been helping us as well. We currently have an Airbnb home for the boys, and the Egg News have relatives in Eugene that with their house is well suited for guests. I guess they've got 4 bedrooms with queen beds and that are open. It's like, anyway, quite a few can stay there, it sounds like. And we, including the transportation, food, accommodations, meet entries. I think we built in a hoodie cost for people. Pretty much everything you'd need. You'd probably want a little bit of spending money in case we stop along the road and you want to fast food or something to eat along the way. But that 600 would cover most of what you would need. The houses are right in there in Eugene. We need to look at our numbers. The current accommodations, based on how many qualified in those last 2 or 3 weeks, won't quite fit anybody, but we're going to ask for commitment so we know if we need more accommodations, and we'll jump right on that. We're looking like almost a month away, not quite a month away.
And Trent, just so everyone knows, if we need more housing, I've got 2 other spots kind of on standby that I could book tonight or tomorrow or whenever we have commitments for more housing. So.
Okay, awesome. Great. As far as that 600 per person, we do have quite a few athletes who have been attending our club fundraisers through the winter and spring, going to the U of U and doing concessions, or helping out on setup or takedown of gymnastics. And so Sarah and I need to get together and add the last few times out doing that. But once we do that, we can tell you how much you've earned. I know some of you, it's several $100s. So you may have a lot of this paid for. Some families have multiple athletes going, or the cost may be steep, especially on short notice. And we want you to know that one of the big reasons that we formed Valhalla Track Club was to open the door to athletes to make it to meets like this. If the athletes have worked hard enough and focused their efforts into training, we want to open the door for them to make it to the big stage. And so we do have options there, scholarships. The club itself budgeted a certain amount of its budget. It's not the bulk of the budget, but we have plenty for scholarships on this trip because we've had 2 or 3 trips earlier this year where the scholarship budget wasn't used. So we've got some scholarships, and if you'd like to take advantage of that, and if the finance is going to be the barrier to getting on the trip, let us know. We don't want that to be the reason that you can't go. So anyway, that budget was determined by a set of parents on the board of directors for that express purpose. So if, let's see, let us know by Wednesday if you can or can't make it. That's Wednesday, anytime by that evening. We'd sooner if you can. If you know you're interested in coming, let us know tonight, because we're going to need to see if those relays, as we've spelled them out, are still going to work. And let me see if I can show that. Second. Are you seeing that flyer?
Yep.
Okay. This has shuffled a little bit since yesterday, since the one I posted. So take a look at that. We've got a medley, a girls medley now. There was some changes in the DMR and the 4x miles for the boys. I learned today that Abby Lee will not be coming. So we've got a hole in that relay. And I'll need to take a closer look to see if we have somebody to fill it right now. Or not. And if we don't, this is one of those, like, I know, well, rumor is Sam Hansen may be going to the meet. We could ask if Katie's going to be there. Katie Hansen could join us. And we could check with some other schools. But anyway, you can take a look over that. And I'll publish this out again. And we can see if I can zoom in on this so you can see it better. If you just want to go by name, I tried to do this generally alphabetical order by last name. So if you want to find yourself, this should be accurate. I also did my best to look at the schedule and your races. So we didn't inadvertently, and we caught a couple of these where we had an athlete in races that were a little too close together, and we were able to switch some things. Okay, let's see, other rules. We maybe have some parents that haven't done trips with us before. We will meet again before we go on the trip, and we will review. We'll introduce our chaperones, a little more refined itinerary. We'll go over safety. We have pretty strict safety rules when we're traveling. Buddy systems, letting know chaperones where you are. We will, where possible, try to eat back at the homes, the Airbnb homes. We can save a bunch of money, and it's more fun, and everybody works together to cook and clean. We can watch videos together, and it's anyway, that's worked pretty good on our trips. Anything else about safety? Our chaperones, a lot of our team chaperones that have done a lot of trips, and we train them to be watching the athletes for illness, socially, emotionally, are they doing all right being away from home? We treat the athletes in a way that, like we would our own kids, and so they can go and have a confidence building experience. And we are all about inclusion and making everybody feel part of the team. So Anne Marie, do you have anything to add, team mother?
Not really. I missed the whole first section, so I don't know what you've covered there, but yeah, I think that we do a really good job of looking out for the athletes, and just also, like, I make a big deal making sure they're eating and drinking. Good.
Yeah. Yep. And the little details, if somebody forgets their cash or wallet that day, we got them covered. It's okay. I see a number of our super chaperones on the call here. Lisa Wadley's been amazing. Mike Mitchell's been amazing. A lot of you had. It was awesome being with Justin Lee in New York. Fantastic. And I know many others of you would be if you were with us. So if you're interested in coming, let us know. You athletes might want to know that Papa Gary, our starter, my dad, I think he plans to go on the trip. He's not going to be our chaperone. He'll probably stay in a hotel, but he plans to come out and cheer on the Vikings. So, other questions or items? I'm sure there's some issues that I haven't touched on. Anyone?
So there are critical, there are people on the critical path on these relays. And when will we know?
Yeah, that's a good question, Paul, especially on the ladies' side. Like the 4x100, for example. A lot of the relays you can use conglomerate times, so you can take the personal best time for the athletes and add those up together to get your qualifying mark for the relay. But on the 4x1, they require that very team ran that time. And so that's where we have 4x1 of Aspen, Kayla, Brecklin, and Lexi. I'd have to get back with Dana to double check. If I don't think we have another mix that hit the qualifying mark. So each of those girls is critical to that team going. Brown's, Aspen's family, they're excited about it. She's working right now. She's going to call me around 9:30 and we're going to talk some more about it. But yeah, if we have 2 or 3 drop and we're not able to fill it, there is a chance that we aren't able to fill all the relays. So anyway, hence my word of caution right at the beginning of the call tonight is if you're in on a relay, it's not quite a done deal until we get all of our commitments and or find another runner to fill the spot. So you guys can talk to each other. A couple of these relays, we have a couple of athletes well below the average time. I know Quincy and Omi, they go back to last year's personal best. And so your best time over the past 2 years, you can use that mark. And there are some marks here that we're well under. So we split those on different teams to bring more athletes. The one exception to that was our 4x8 and our 4x4. Those 2 relays made it into the top tier championship event where on the right day, that 4x8 has a shot to run top 10 in the nation. And if they pop a good race, they could be an All-American on that relay. So, and medal. Exactly who's on which relay is not set in stone. As we get closer, we may reevaluate exactly the mix. I can't remember how late you've got to switch them up. Andy, I think will figure that out for us, how late you can swap names in and out of a relay. But it might be clear up until the week of, till they close it. So good question. Any other questions?
Yeah, Trent, are there any other meets coming up where someone could qualify a time?
Hey, that's a really good question, Paul, and it's one I thought about earlier today. I need to research this a little bit, or somebody else could as well, and share it on GroupMe. But USA Track and Field has a set of meets that start sometime soon. I don't know when it is. I know my dad occasionally is a starter for those meets. Sarah Spangenberg would go running those meets. and they run through the summer. They have some of them here in Utah. So I think if you got a time at one of those meets, if they're soon enough, you may be able to get a time at one of those meets. So
But we couldn't, you'd have to run all 4 persons in a combination of a relay on the 4x1, 4x2.
just the 4x1. I think you can do conglomerate time on the 4x2.
Okay.
You're welcome to go on the website for Nike Outdoor. See if I can pull it up. Nike Outdoor Nationals. And you can see the qualifying standards. And this tells you right here for championship level, these are the marks. And the events for emerging elite, that's the next tier. Competition is still very high. That's the marks. Not all the events are quite the same. They don't run a 4x-mile, for example, or a DMR. They have a few freshman events, and they have some middle school events. If you have siblings that have been running, that are in junior high, 7th and 8th grade, that have hit these marks, they potentially could come. And then the other important thing to read this in conjunction with is the entry guidelines. And this tells you some important information. For example, altitude adjustments. For any race 800 meters and up, they have a calculator. You put in the altitude, the distance, the time you ran, and it'll tell you what the sea level time is, and that's what you use. I guess one other thing to be aware of, if you see the mile, for example, the 1 mile, that's a true mile. A mile is longer than 1600. We race 1600. So your 1600 mark is actually 412.8. And then you'd have to run it through the altitude calculator. And then if you're on a relay, you've got to run that calculation times 4. So anyway, it's taken us a little bit of time the last couple of days. So we appreciate your patience after a few long days at state to come out of our coma and crunch some numbers. That's why I'm asking for your patience. There is a chance, given our exhaustion level, that there could be a mistake here and there. and a few people have caught those and called them to our attention. And I really appreciate that. We want to get as many athletes there and on the trip as we can. Paul, that was another good question. You got any more for me?
Looks like Ian Lee might
Oh,
have.
Oh, hey. What would training look like between now and nationals with the team?
Yeah, great question. So we're letting the kids have down days the next couple of days as school is finishing. Go have some fun. I mean, the night of the 5,000s director called me tonight, or he didn't call me, he texted me, "Hey, is your team coming?" I said, "We wanted to, but my gut's telling me that some of them need to rest." He told me this: "If you have any ladies, we'll let them run for free. We really want ladies at our meet. We don't have enough registered. So if you're a lady and you're wanting to run a 5K the night of 5,000s, it's free for you." The guys, he dropped the price to $22 for us. If you want to go, we still support you in that. But Justin, back to your question, we're going to start meeting Thursday. We're going to move to our morning summer schedule, 6:30 a.m. And Thursday will be an easy day. Friday, we're going to get back in the saddle of a pillar day. It'll be a working day Friday. And then we're going to have 2 weeks of build. Those will be working days where we'll have 2 or 3 hard workouts to ramp us back in. We'll look to fill any holes. If you feel like you need endurance, we're going to build some endurance. If you feel like you need some speed, we'll do some speed. And that will take us till about a week out, where we'll still do some hard work, but the volume will be a little bit less, so we come in fresh. So those practices through that time will be 6:30 in the morning each day, at least for distance. I'm sure Dana, she's on the call here. You guys usually meet before us. You guys want to meet at 6 a.m.? Then you can be clear in time for us. Or 5:30, you can go. Well, we won't get in your way.
5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work with my schedule. Probably more like 6:30, 7 a.m. So we can get a good workout in before the sun hits us hard, you know?
Yeah. No, that sounds good.
So, and we will be doing the same thing. So next week we'll start Thursday this week too as well. And then next week it'll be 3 hard days. And then the week following, that Monday will be a hard day. And then after that, we will tone down to get you guys rested for the Nike Nationals. That's what I'm thinking.
It's awesome that Coach Parker's going to help you guys prep as well. Fingers crossed our sprint teams come together, because we have some really good sprinters this year, and we're hoping they can make it. We understand if you can't. This is not a mandatory meet, but just a really cool opportunity. So that was another good question, Justin. Any other questions?
Basketball. Seems like the girls have camps and leagues scattered all through the summer, and so that's just one thing for me to look into.
Okay.
Yeah, over the next day or two, everyone just triple check your schedules, your conflicts, needs, timeframes. And if if realistically it can happen and you can commit to it, then we'd love to get you on board and get these all booked out. The only other consideration why we're also pushing to get some commitments right now is just want to make sure this meet doesn't fill up on us, and we get everyone booked in there as soon as we possibly can. I've already noticed a little bit of an uptick in registrations, since most states are finishing their state meets right now as they head into summer. So people are getting their final qualifying times and registering for the meet right as soon as they get them. So
yeah, we learned a hard lesson indoor, that if there are a few of the relays that may fill up, they'll cap it at some point. So we're trying to get on this as soon as we can.
And someone asked to show the week schedule again.
And you can look at the full detail schedule back on that page that had the qualifying marks on the left. There's a tab or a button there to push for the meet schedule. I had just plucked out the events, and I actually have it written out on paper, like down to the minute when the various events are for emerging or elite or championship for the different events. I roughed it in over here. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. Okay, any other questions? I want to reiterate, you guys, if you're interested in chaperoning, please let us know. And then also on that financial side of things, as our athletes have been fundraising at the U of U, they've done such a good job. We're like one of their favorites. So on top of concessions that are open to everybody, they started asking us to come set up and take down their gymnastics floor, which they don't do that for very many people. It's kind of a specialized job. And then they also have said, hey, look, if we fill a certain number of booths, they'll give us bonuses. So the bonus money that they've given us, we've kind of stashed it away for scholarships. And then I've had a couple of parents come to me and have said, you know, here's $500 or here's $1,000. Put it in your fund for athletes trying to make it to the big meets. And then what's the other one? We had one other source that came in that's, you know, it's not strictly the athletes fundraising for someone else. It was an independent source of money coming to, well, there's been some tax exempt donations come in, and we've kind of tucked these aside for a scholarship fund. So I don't want anybody to be shy about that. If it's an important thing to get you out on the trip, we, as the Valhalla Track Club, which is really a parent committee that's a booster club for these athletes, we've got your back. We were once young and scrapping for money, and now that we're a little older, we've pooled our resources and got our heads together, and we've got a fund aside to help open doors for you. People did it for us before, and we're just paying forward what people have done to us. So we're here for you. This team is like a big family, and we love it. We'd love it if you can come. So let us know as soon as you can, if you can make it. And if there's not any more questions, we'll sign off with an epic slow-mo video of no, maybe this one's better. Of these boys running on the beach. This one cracks me up every time. No. We hung out on the beach for I don't know how long. It was like 3 or 4 hours, I think. It was a long time. Well, you guys, does anybody need our numbers to shoot us a text message? Mine is 406-208-5424. 406-208-5424. I think you can direct message us through GroupMe. Thanks, everybody. That's what we got for tonight.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks, Trent. We sure appreciate all your work. And Andy.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Trent.
Thank you.
Christine. Yep. Thank you, guys.